Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, I'm not wearing my normal little Cruising with Don shirt because I got this when I got back home from my cruise. Roberta, thank you very much for that gift. It made me smile as you were hoping it would. Because yes, I am a Diet Dr. Pepper fan. But there's a lot. There's a lot to talk about in the news today. Some good and some very, very bad. First, the very, very bad news. Unfortunately, our feelings did turn out to be true. There were no survivors on that plane crash from the Alaska tour from Holland America's New Amsterdam. 5 passengers and 1 pilot, unfortunately, did pass away in the plane crash near the icy fjords. Very popular destination for helicopters and seaplanes to visit. It's not clear yet exactly what's happened. There will be an investigation and that'll come out later. This was not a tour operated by the cruise line. Wasn't one offered by Holland America. This was a tour that they booked separately from one of the many, many tour operators along the sides that you can see all the time. You can go whale watching, you can go Glacier Bay. You don't have to buy them through the cruise line. Not that sometimes it's the exact same company. You're just going privately instead of booking through the cruise line. So it's not saying that it's any better or worse than any other tour out there. I just, that's a very minute point, but the cruise lines will want to know that, that wasn't one of our tours, but unfortunately was our guests on board. We'll see what happens with that in the future. Like I said, the last time Alaska was up and running full season, they had 3 seaplane crashes that year, and now they're starting off this year a half season with a plane crash only a few weeks into the season. So I think a lot of people will start to be very unsure of taking those seaplanes. If you do want to do one of those tours up to the glaciers and things like that, just remember there are helicopter tours out there as well, and those seem to not have quite as many problems, at least recently. But everything you do in life is a gamble. Going on a zip line can be a gamble. Going swimming in the ocean can be a gamble. Driving to work can be a gamble. But it's just sad when people sometimes go on a dream vacation of a lifetime and something like that happens. We also have more and more test cruises have started up because the lawsuit may be going on in Florida, and now the lawsuit has been joined by Texas. However, the other states that want to open up are still going strong with the CDC's recommendations. Those haven't been overturned in any other place except Florida. So more test cruises. So far, everybody who's actually gone on a test cruise has passed. So that's a good sign that they're prepared when they do these cruises. And speaking of lawsuits, we have Norwegian Cruise Line is back in court today. Now, before I get into that one, I have another story after that that's very interesting about vaccine mandates as well. But before I get into that story, let me just invite you to just hit that subscribe button, whichever side it's on. I think it's right here. It doesn't cost anything. It really, really does help the channel. And you'll be just notified of videos that come out and keep you up to date with all things happening cruising and travel, including the vlogs and the ships that we're going on in the very near future, and all the changing mandates that literally are changing day by day by day. And again, it's not a subscription to anything. You're not paying anything. It's not a Patreon. It's just helping the channel, and I would be very, very appreciative. Now, as far as the lawsuit is concerned, Norwegian Cruise Line is in court today asking that the judge set aside that rule of no asking for vaccine passports or any proof of vaccines in the state of Florida. It's kind of a weird situation going on right now because the government there has been known as being pro-business, but they're this one seems to be an anti-business sort of thing. They're making a stand for freedoms, personal information and that. However, they're saying the cruise lines can go ahead and ask. You can go ahead and ask. They actually came out and said the cruise lines are allowed to ask if you've had a vaccine or not. The only thing they're not allowed to do is deny you boarding. So if you're unvaccinated, they can't deny you going on the ship, but the cruise lines can mandate that you wear a mask at all times, etc. You can't go into certain places on the ships. They're free to do that. The cruise lines are free to ask you if you've been fully vaccinated and show proof of vaccines. But what they're not allowed to do is deny you access to the ship. And that's why the cruise lines in Florida have been able to ask for vaccine proof. A lot of people are very confused and wondering, hey, I thought they weren't allowed to ask that. How do they tell if they're at 95% capacity vaccinated or not? Well, that's how. They keep track of the people coming in who are saying that they're not vaccinated, and once they hit 5%, that's it. They shut down the ship. So it's and don't forget they're at minimum capacities a lot of the time, so it's easy to do that. So yeah, that's how they're getting around the law. But you're allowed to ask for the proof, but you're just not allowed to deny somebody entry for that. And Norwegian says, look, we want everybody to be vaccinated right now for our cruises. We want to keep everybody as safe as possible, and we feel vaccines are the way to go. And a lot of people are saying, well, just go with the 95 and it makes it simple, but they're not the only ones that are doing this. In fact, United Airlines has just announced that every one of their employees working out of the United States is going to be mandated to be vaccinated. And those employees are going to have either 5 weeks from the time that the FDA and the CDC officially approve the vaccine, not just emergency use anymore, but officially approve the vaccine, or 5 weeks after September 30th, whichever comes first, to get their vaccines. And who knows what's going to happen after that. The company is also offering all their employees, even the ones that have already been vaccinated, a paid day off in order to get this done as well. So and they're not the only ones. We're talking Facebook, we're talking Goober, we're talking Uber, we're talking DoorDash, we're talking a lot of companies out there are going this route. Here in Canada, we have the province of Quebec saying that, going so far as to say that they're going to institute a vaccine passport. And if you want to do things like go to a hockey game, go to a concert, maybe even go to dinner in some restaurants, you're going to have to show a vaccine passport. And now the Prime Minister of Canada has actually also come out and said they're working on the same thing for federal employees and healthcare workers, etc. So it's not just the cruise lines who are looking at vaccine mandates going forward. But the cruise lines seem to be the first ones to try and do it for paying passengers, and that's where that could be the problem. However, they're in court today, and they may come out, the judge may say, you know what, with the rising cases of variants, with the hospitalizations on the rise, it's hard to argue that cruise lines should not be allowed to make sure that their passengers are as safe as possible. Who knows? The courts have been going back and forth all over the places with these kinds of decisions. Just know that it's not just the cruise lines who are looking at now mandating vaccines and vaccine passports and that. It's a lot of companies. At last toll, the companies that are looking at mandating vaccines are over 40 million people working for those companies in the United States so far. So it's not a small number by no means. And the United Airlines is the first airline to come out, but don't be surprised if they're not the last. Well, That's it. Lots of news, like I said. Some sad, not so great. Good news for test cruises. It's all over the place, and I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world, hit that subscribe button. Till next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.